Welcome to Build Stuff and Bikes, Workshop, Man Cave and She Shade Build, Episode 2. In Episode 1, you will see that I removed part of the old fence part, inserted a window in, and got some posts in, and got ready to detach the ledger beam from the house. In Part 2, I'm going to detach the ledger beam from the house, install the extra posts needed, and lots more, so hold tight. So, this is the front part of the porch. I've got to remove this feather boards and then get this post in to take this ledger board off from the house to make it an outbuilding. So I'm putting a 100mm 4-inch post into a post anchor with anchor bolts, and then I've put my post in here, which is behind the fascia there. I'll go outside in a minute. The matching light on the left and a post there, so it'll look like that. So just removing the feather boards so I can get the post in. So I've got the inner fascia off. So that's structurally supporting the weight of the tiles out the front. So I'm going to move that across to here. Now I can cut that, noggin and that, and then start getting the post in to support that corner. So I'm just going to bang this in now. So I've got I've cut these, supported it there because this is the end now. Let's hold it like that. So we've got that holds the weight all the way up. So I've cut that one out, that top one. I can get the post in there then. Tiles are on the other side, so that isn't really supported at the moment, but it's got that all the way across. And I troweled adhesive carefully. So the post will go in here. I'm going to have to cut the gas meter box and redo that so I can open it. The post will be in there, and I'm going to put extra noggins up now onto the roof because we're having onduline and it needs better spacing. I think it's 400 because of the low fall. The gradient's 5 to 10%, but we'll cover that. Holdy tighty. So if you look, I've got to take that angle bracket off. I've got my noggin in there screwed in up on the ceiling. Okay, so I measured that. That's a bit of 4x2 pressure treated. Don't really need it, but in case we had a leak. And then I'm going to run batten across there, and this ledger beam will be coming off. So that's the plan. Yeah. So I'm just using my battery circular saw to cut round the 4-inch post. So I've removed the said post. I might use that as a acro prop if I need to when I detach the ledger beam. But so that's my post shoe, that's going in, that'll just fit lovely. And then, so I've drawn around it and removed the post so I can line it up. And then now I've got to cut little bits off the post just to allow for this 2mm or whatever it is. And I'll do the anchor bolts next. So I'm going to drill some holes through there so I can line up the holes and then turn it round. Thinking on my feet. Now for the anchor bolts. So I'm using the post sleeve as a template so that I can mark the holes ready to pre-drill them for the anchor bolts. So I'm going to use these anchor bolts, concrete screws. I'm going to drill with an 8mm masonry bit and put those in. 8mm hole, masonry bit, and then I'll use an impact driver. That's your concrete screw. You see the thread on it, the way it's done, you can recognise them. And then it's a 15mm socket onto an impact socket, a converter. That goes in here. Oh, there you go. And I can do them up. Simple. I'll time-lapse this. It's not that interesting. I had to put the fence post, cut a couple more mil off. I've cleaned the soaked it quickly in wood preserver. I should have soaked it overnight really, but it's getting the time, so I've soaked it in the post in a bucket and container with post protector, wood preservative, and then I've slid it into the post because of the angle. You won't get it in afterwards, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to slide it in. So that's cut. I'm going to put some packers in now, then that allows it's not right up against the bottom of the post shoe and doesn't get any water in. So we'll go up, try 3mm packer. So they go in the post shoe, look, and that will keep it out of water as well. And I've also protected it with wood preserver. So it goes in the post thing first. I'll make sure the bolts you're able to access them once it's in, so I'll go for a lock-in at the back, so like that way round. I'll cut a bit off the shelf now. We'll time-lapse this bit. So this is the post in place, and this is from the outside, so that's the porch outside tiled wall. Gate's half made, I'm doing a split gate. Window will be framed, that's just a packer really, temporary thing, so I can pack it out. So we've got the post in now. Our joist hanger all up there later, but that's in. It's taking the weight in there and on that post. A beautiful sunrise at ours today. So a new day, but still on the porch gate. So I'm now making the frame for the gate stroke door for this porch conversion. So I'm just ripping down the 4x2 pressure treated, and then I'm going to do half laps to create a strong and stable framework. I'm going to be cutting this much out, and then this, so they do a half lap, so that'll be like that. So I've done exactly half, and then now I'm going to chop this bit out, and then that'll give me my half lap, so they will get glued and screwed. So I need to cut this at 795. Measure twice, cut once. So I'm cutting the stiles now. I'm going to use the circuit saw to cut them to the right length, and then the chop saw to cut out the half laps. So I didn't film this in detail, but this is the door I'm making. I'm using 4x2 pressure treated wood, just a pocket hole in it together, and then using decking boards as the covering for it. So but I've just time-lapsed this just so you can see it. I'm planing it off and making it lovely and square to fit in the door frame. Playing that side, but trouble is because it's a sort of improvised gate, it's just split it a bit, so I'm going to use my router now. Caught it there, like I can fill all that, but it's only a sort of temporary gate. Just planing it to size now to fit within this frame here. So this is the lower part of the gate. So I'm just going to router off this now, try it that way, just get the frame fully trued. So I'm using a bottom bearing router, but it's a cheap one from eBay, rubbish really, but it'll do the job. Plunge it down, so if you look, that's rusted, that's rubbing on the depth I want to go, and that'll just take those decking boards out. So that's the plan. So here you can see me using a piece of scrap wood as a template guide for my router to router the edge of the decking boards off. So matching the door up with the frame now using packers, or you can use playing cards. So this is the next day, and we're still working on this lovely gate stroke door. These are the hinges. It's only a sort of quick gate. So the inside is just rough cladded with decking boards, okay? Inside doesn't matter. And I'm going to get some posh cladding for the front and make the front look nice. But this is just going to be the half gate, so I'm going to put the latch put it into here, get it on, and then add the decking boards, so hold tight. So how time flies, we're now up to the 28th of January, still on the gate. So I'm using some packers to pack out the bottom and the side so I can get it squared, and then I'll add the hinges. So I'll have black, 6mm at the bottom. So I've just put the gate in position and using my packers to get it level on all the sides. It takes a while to get this. You've got to make sure the frame is square and the gate is as square as possible. So then these are going on. Show mark, I'll do it equally, so I'll time lapse this. So they're just going to go on. I'm going to mark it equally, put the hinges on, and then we've got our gate made. So I'll time lapse this. So the gate's in its final position. I've packed it all around to make sure it's equal on size, and now I'm just lining the hinges up. I'm putting them on temporarily so our Simba, our cat, can not escape. And then when I've got the tongue and groove, which I get from Wix, which is fantastic, pressure treated, I will then add that on to the front. But at the moment it's more function we need than actual looking beautiful. So the hinges are on now, and now I'm just placing the final decking boards on to make this airtight so our cat can't escape through those. He loves playing in my porch. So I've used, I think it was a brown spaces I used in there. Yeah. So I'm using the brown packers. I think they're about 3mm gap, just to space the decking boards out correctly. The wood at the moment is quite dry, so when it gets damp it will swell up. So you've got to allow for this when you plan your installation. So I'm using clamps and screws now just to place the decking boards in their final position. So make sure you use external grade screws, especially in pressure treated wood. All these standard wood screws will just rot out and look horrible and not hold tight for many years. Good piece of kit this. So I'm using my lovely Works nail gun. It's an 18 gauge nailer. So I'm using 25mm galvanised pins to place these feather boards in. You need galvanised because the normal ones will just rust out. This is the second part of my split door. So I'll put the hinges on temporarily. I'm going to clad the back part, which doesn't have to be neat, with scaffold boards. This makes it Simba proof, our cat, because he's been trying to escape overnight. So, and then I'm going to clad the front with something nicer, with some proper tongue and groove. Inside doesn't matter what it looks like. I've braced it. I've drilled and pre-drilled and screwed 120mm screws in there with some glue. And oh look, this is the wrong way. That's the intention. It's supposed to be that way, but I can, let me think. I can sort that out now. That's not a problem. So I've used packers. I've squared it off. It doesn't have to be 100% square because you're cladding it and that can cover it. So that's the next step. The door is on the inside. I've just got to finish the top bit. It all shuts. And that'll get just sanded in a quick stain. It's just the inside. I didn't mind it being like that. So I've braced it correctly now on the other side. So this now is in tension, so it stops it sagging. And now, so look out for part 3, where I'll be detaching the ledger beam from the actual house, doing the noggins ready for the onduline, and cladding that door gate that I've just built. Hold tight.